So this video is called really Operation Shit You Not. Operation Shit You Not. And I spoke about this on another channel of mine, and I want to elaborate because now it's after a few months after the whole thing came out, in March of 2020 about this whole thing with the coronavirus and the COVID-19 or whatever the hell you want to call it. Now, I want to preface this by saying I'm not saying that the virus does not exist. But then again, there are like, what, a million other viruses out there. I mean, just hundreds of thousands of viruses out there. But this particular virus is the one that's well on center stage. And this is the one that is being played up for mainly political political reasons. It's not you know most of the people that are dying or dead had other complications, and they're much older, like over 70 or 80 years of age, that probably would have died anyway from all the other ailments that they have. It's not like the virus killed you. No. In fact, I challenged the CDC or any of these characters to say that this person died only because of the COVID-19. Just because of that. That's the only thing. That's the only reason why this person died, without any other complications involved. So that tells you right there that it's really an illusion. And in other words, these people are going to probably die anyway of all the other ailments. And then the COVID-19 just sort of ramped it up a little bit more for you. It's funny that Trump, United States President Donald John Trump, he, was tested positive for the virus. He's 74 years of age. Most people over the age of 70 have other issues. Now, of course, I don't think he smokes, at least not anything that we know of. I don't think he says he don't drink, he don't smoke, so he doesn't have any types of other lung issues, at least not that we know of. I mean, Donald Trump tends to be quiet about his medical records, about his IRS forms. I'm sure that he has a lot of offshore accounts. He probably has a lot of investments in Chinese companies, for all we know. I mean, Donald Trump is a kind of a funny character. Now, I also want to say this as a side note. I've been a lifelong Republican, so it's not like I'm like after him because of political reasons. No, I'm just telling you like it is. Some people can handle it, some people cannot. Anyway, so yeah, so here he tests positive for coronavirus. He goes into the hospital, and like, I don't know, 1 or 2 days later, he's let out. So whatever, and he's over 70, right? Whatever drugs he took from this hospital, well, cured him. Okay, so my question is right off the bat is, why are we waiting for all these vaccines? We'll just take whatever Donald Trump took. I mean, apparently cured him, and it doesn't appear like he wants to give that medical medicines. There's medical information out to anyone to cure you. It's just really strange things that are going on. Here's a president that gets coronavirus, tests positive for it, put in the hospital, and then comes out alive, and he's still, his self like any other day. And I can guarantee it that his wife is also going to survive. She's not going to be one of the dead statistics, as well as probably everyone in his cabinet. Now, unless they're like 70, 80 years old with, lung issues and smoking combustible cigarettes all their lives, or even premium cigars or hand rolled cigars, or some kind of cancer causing potential ailments there, or whatever the hell it may be. But there's always other medical issues involved. I've yet to ever read, I don't know about you guys, maybe you guys can put that up in a link somewhere under the video, that someone actually died only because of COVID-19. And statistically, I don't know how true they are, but most of the people that even get it, even at the age of 70 or 80, their survival rate is very high. In other words, they don't die. We only hear of cases that are they're dead, but not because of COVID-19, but because of many other complications that are involved. In other words, that person would have died anyway. Anyway, so with that said, I started thinking, why is this going on? What is going on here? Here you have Trump catches this virus, goes into the hospital, comes right back out, no different than any other day. And yet everyone else is subjected to this whole concept of, we're waiting for the vaccine, and only certain people. Let me share this with you real quick. Let me pause this. I could find it on Wikipedia, and I like Wikipedia. If you have an open mind and a good grasp of reality, Wikipedia is really good. But a lot of people say, "Oh, that's all opinions and all this other crap." So I figure, well, let us just go to the heart of the matter here. So this is an actual governmental website. This is the United States Department of Health and Human Services Department. Okay. And so this is such a thing, and they just spoke about it. I believe Mike Pence just spoke about it in the vice presidential debates they had last night. And they have a thing called Operation Warp Speed. Okay, there's an actual warp speed, an actual operation. And my point is they're working hand in hand with the Department of Health and Human Services, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, with the Food and Drug Administration, with the National Institutes of Health, with the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, with the Department of Defense. And they're coming out, these particular companies that have contracted in the millions to the billions with the federal government to find this vaccine. And there are certain companies like here, Johnson and Johnson. Yeah. Mond or whatever, I can't say that. Another one that got involved in it. Here's another one that got involved in it. See here. So they got some other regional Gaboma, whatever the hell it's. These guys got involved in it. Pfizer. Look at the billions. 1.95 billion to Pfizer. 1.6 billion to Novavax or whatever the hell it's called. 1.2 billion to these characters over here. 483 million to these guys. 446 million to Johnson and Johnson. And it goes on and on. It's not like, well, just think about it. No. Then Johnson got another 1 billion. And it goes on and on. It's just all garbage. What's going on here is these particular companies, drug companies, are working hand in hand with the government to make billions of dollars. And here you have Trump. He goes into the hospital supposedly there is no vaccine right now for the COVID-19, but yet Trump was able to get it, go into the hospital, and then be released within, I don't know, a day or two, and he's cured. In fact, he says, I feel even better than ever before. So it's just a way of drug companies, they have this whole thing called the Hegelian dialectic. That is, you create a problem, then you solve the problem, and then you benefit from the problem. So you create a problem. Now, anyone in their right mind will know. Let me do this real quick here, so you don't have like goes white all of a sudden. It goes wow 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 wow. Okay. So first, you have to create a problem. Now, I can't pronounce it. Wuhan, I guess. Wuhan. It was a lab over there in China. Now, I don't necessarily just blame the Chinese or the Asians. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not the greatest people in the world as far as their government is concerned. Maybe as a people, as nomads, the little villages and stuff like that, probably okay. In fact, I probably can go over to some village there or some city there in China and sit down with a Chinese person. As long as the person can understand me to a degree, even through gestures, I think I can get along with a Chinese person. On the other hand, it's the government. The government gets in the middle of this crap. Anyway, so nevertheless, so you have the Chinese government. Now, a lot of people make it appear that the Chinese government is the bad boogeyman on he's the boogeyman on the block. I remember in before the 1980s, before Reagan, they had Russia as the bad boogeyman on the block. See, and before that, you had Germany, was a bad what she was a bad boogeyman on the block, but nevertheless, he was still the boogeyman on the block that they knew he was up to no good. That is Hitler. They knew he was up to no good, but they let it go on because why? They needed a boogeyman to play off of. And before that, it was mainly a lot of like European dynasties and things of that they played off of. Though we American government not necessarily really got tied up in that, but at least the Europeans, British, the United Kingdom, and things of that nature, they played off of the big dynasties, the French dynasties versus the Belgium dynasties, all kinds of bullshit. Anyway, but this is the point is it's the same song and dance. It's nothing new. Okay. But anyway, let's bring it up to present time. The present time is the Chinese or the boogeyman on the block. They're the ones we play off of. So, nevertheless, the Chinese government is, well, a government. It's a federal government, okay? And that federal government works with our government in its own way, mainly through the Central Intelligence Agency, through the Department of Defense. You have to understand China is one part of the general council that is not so much general council the only national the how's that go the General Security Council, some bullshit crap that they created years ago in regards to the United Nations. So they sit on the General Security Council or whatever the hell it's called. I really don't care. I always hated the United Nations. I think it's a con, but that's beside the point. That's for another day. But anyway, so China has a lot of people say, well, we're going to go to war with China. Bullshit. They have a vote on the UN Security Council. That's what it is, UN Security Council. So anyway, that's not going to happen. That's a fantasy, but sometimes that's fed to you to make you have fear. But But nevertheless, they work. The Chinese government works, not so much maybe the leader, though he certainly probably is aware of it, but he doesn't necessarily do anything. But there are people within deep in the Chinese government, mainly the Defense Department, that works hand in hand with the United States government, the CIA, the NSA, the Department of Intelligence, things of that nature. And so they know this is their business is to know, for one thing, but not only that, they create these issues. You had the 9/11. I don't have to go through that too much. Have it on the other "Tis Folly to Be Wise" channel, but I can't get into it because YouTube is full of shit in a lot of ways. And they say that because my phone number is different, I changed my phone number, I can't go into that account anymore. But it's still there. So it's like "Tis Folly to Be Wise" Part 1. YouTube is a con, but anyway, I pay them $11.99 a month to have no commercials. I should stop that, but I do like no commercials, so the only reason why I keep it. But YouTube is full shit in a lot of ways. Plus, I don't have the numbers now. If I had the numbers, like hundreds of thousands of people watching me, I could definitely get into that account with no problem. But that's part of the con that YouTube does. But anyway, that was all the point. So, thing is, but I talked about these issues on that particular channel. Is my point. Anyway, so the government, the Chinese government, works hand in hand with the federal government. If you don't believe that, then my best advice is click off this video and go suck a lollipop, because you live in a fucking fantasy world. Okay. So, and in fact, most governments work with each other. So here you have, with that said, here you have this lab over there, WUHAN, and they created this man-made virus, just like they created many other viruses. And, they have this, it seems like every 20 years they have to have some new big deal going on. They had the 9/11, now they got the coronavirus thing going on. And so they're the boogeyman. They're the boogeyman. It's funny how this coronavirus thing wasn't created in some, I don't know, UK lab. Why wasn't it created in Norwegian lab? Why wasn't it created in a Canadian lab? Because, well, right now we're in the whole thing with having China be the boogeyman. Now, like I said, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of wrong things about China, the government itself, but still, they are the boogeyman. So they created the problem not just by themselves, but along with the CIA, the NSA, the Department of Defense, the Department of Intelligence, you fucking name it on fucking down the line. They created this problem. And then they go in there and then say, wait, hold it here. We have a problem here. So in March of 2020, they're like, we have a problem in America with people dying from coronavirus. What the hell is going on here? And so they go in there, the government especially, working with very, very wealthy families that you don't even know of. I speak about that in some my videos, even on this channel that I'll be uploading especially. They work hand in hand to resolve the problem, to resolve the issue. And then the key is after they resolve it through many measures, like right now, it's like, well, get Trump back into the White House and we'll resolve this issue. That's one of the resolving things going on. And then the aftermath of it all is who benefits. Well, the drug companies definitely benefit from this. Absolutely, the drug companies. The government benefits from it, from restricting your liberties. Absolutely, they would love to restrict your liberties. They are just shitting all over the U.S. Constitution, just crapping all over the Fourth Amendment. I mean, you can have a party inside of your house, on your private property, and be fined, and even go to jail for that matter, if you don't have a mask on, or you have more than whatever the state law or city ordinance is saying. Not more than 10 people, not more than 50 people, not more than 250 people, whatever the hell it may be. Your ass can go to jail because you defied that order and you own your own private property. I can understand if you're in the street. And that's the other thing. How about all those fucking riots in New York City? Some of them, most of them, had masks on, but they were shouting and yelling and spitting and shitting, and, well, maybe not shitting, but they were certainly spitting while they were shouting. All those riots going on. Those people should all be dead in the street. Anyway. So, what was I saying? Let me take a vape. You like a vape? I vape. This is all do-it-yourself stuff. This is Blue Moo Shake and Vape. It's like a blueberry milkshake. So anyway, yeah, here you have private residences getting fined and things of that nature, stripping away the Fourth Amendment. And then you have the First Amendment. You can protest peacefully, but you have to have a permit for one thing, and you have to do it in a certain way. I always say protest the protest permit, but that's beside the point. Definitely don't want to incite violence or hurt each other while you're protesting. But even peaceful protests, or, well, you have to do it a certain way according to the government standards. You can't just go out there and protest. You have to have a permit for the most part. So it's funny, sadly funny. The Second Amendment, some states wouldn't allow gun shops to sell guns, just a whole bunch of stuff. Like even the Fifth, the Sixth, and Seventh Amendments were all screwed up because the U.S. court system, state court system, local court systems were all slowed down for the whole coronavirus. You just wreaked havoc with the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, that is. So that is part of the benefit that the federal government, the wealthy elite families also receive, is suppressing the American by stripping them of their rights, as in whatever shape or form they can. It's not like after this election here on November 3rd, 2020, people think, well, it's just going to go away. Bullshit. It's going to be ramped up some more. This is going to go on. It'll go on with Biden or it'll go on with Trump. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you right now. This is October 8th, 2020. This shit's going to go on. They're going to extend this whole coronavirus suppression bullshit crap going on here as long as they can. When I say they, I'm thinking in terms of CIA and all these fucking assholes. They're going to extend it as long as they can, just like the 9/11. They extended that as long as they could. They got a lot out of that. How they screwed all the telecommunications, eavesdropping, and all that bullshit, follow you wherever you go with your cell phones and all this other crap, and the internet and whatever have you. They exploited that 9/11 the best they could, and this whole coronavirus, they're going to exploit it as well. It's not like we get Trump in office and all of a sudden it goes away. Bullshit. Unless you're Trump himself and you test positive for a coronavirus, you go into a hospital, about 2 days later, you come back out, and you feel even better than ever before. Unless you're actually that, everything, everything else is what you're subjected to. You can't, in other words, whatever Trump did to go into hospital and come out, either was all bullshit, that was all just a con that happened there to deflect from the first debate, presidential debate, or whatever reason, or he actually did con. He actually got the coronavirus, but for some reason or another, whatever medicines he took, even though all those medicines, all the other, in other words, if all the Americans had whatever medicines Trump had, then they should be well out of hospitals and walking around feeling better. So we don't really need these vaccines and paying the drug companies billions of dollars. But there's some entities need to benefit from this. And it's not like the first time in the world. The drug companies, the very organized drug companies, have benefited for over 100 years. Johnson and Johnson's real badass mothers. I mean, you go into their history, they had their hands in everything. They're they when I think of Johnson and Johnson, I think of IG Farben, Farben, under Hitler's regime. That's how bad Johnson and Johnson is. Pfizer, Pfizer's bad, but they're not as bad as Johnson and Johnson. You go into Johnson and Johnson history, there's some bad mothers. Mm-hmm. Yes, they kill you in a second if they could. Absolutely. They're supposed to prevent that. No, don't wind up on their shit list. I've always been on the shit list of the federal government, state government, local governments. They say, well, he just has a small channel. If he gets 1 million viewers, we might have to do something about this. But no one watches him and no one pays attention to him, so it's okay. So the whole thing is this Hegelian dialectic. So you create a problem, you resolve the problem, you benefit the problem. And they've been doing this for over 100, 200 years. And even before it was even named the Hegelian dialectic by Engels, they've been doing that since, well, probably the beginning of time, as far as, man-made time. They just didn't really call it anything. I mean, how about that one, what was the Japanese warrior, um, The Art of War? It's basically the same concept. Anyway, so more or less it is. So, with that being said, I'm saying the coronavirus is bullshit, which it is. It's a con. It's a con. There's medicines out there. There's definitely medicines out there, or else Trump would be dead right now. He would be dead. Period. End of story. And but who benefits? Drug companies, federal government, U.S. federal government, and many other governments around the world, for that matter. I want to share this with you a little bit. Let me bring this up. Wow. I got that. We'll go over here. Now I did a video of this before on another channel I have, but just go into it briefly. So it's not off of Wikipedia, because a lot of people say, "Oh no." This is off John Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. I'll take you to another site as well, a governmental website, in a moment, but Center for Health Security. And this thing was called Operation Dark Winter back in 2001. I'll just read a little bit of it. On June 22nd, 23rd, 2001, this is before 9/11. Remember 9/11? The Center for Strategic and International Studies, the Johns Hopkins Center for Civilian Biodefense Studies, the Answer Institute for Homeland Security, and the Oklahoma City National Memorial Institute for the Prevention Terrorism hosted a senior level war game examining the national security, intergovernmental, and information challenges of a biological attack on the American homeland. And they had this scenario that they had, this was just an exercise at that time. It says, with tensions rising in Taiwan Straits. Now, this was a scenario, okay, an exercise. It wasn't real at the time, okay, but think in terms of that exercise, that simulated exercise, and then think in terms of what is happening right now. And a major crisis developing in Southwest Asia, a smallpox outbreak was confirmed by the CDC in Oklahoma City. Now, let's break this down. Taiwan Straits, Southwest Asia. Now, this is back in 2001 they were doing this exercise. And guess where this coronavirus 19 crap came from? Southwest Asia. And you know, see, Oklahoma City, they have, you know, they're in the red zone according to Trump. During the 13 days of the game, the disease spread to 25 states and 15 other countries. That's exactly what happened in 2020 in real time. 14 participants and 60 observers witnessed terrorism warfare in slow motion. Discussions, debates, some rather heated, and decisions focused on the public health response. Lack of an adequate supply of smallpox vaccine. At that time, they were doing smallpox in their simulated exercise. Now it's COVID-19. Basically the same thing. It's a virus. Roles and missions of federal and state governments, civil liberties associated with quarantine and isolation, the role of Department of Defense, and potential military responses to the anonymous attack. Additionally, a predictable 24/7 news cycle quickly developed that focused the nation and the world on the attack and response. 5 representatives from the National Press Corps, including print and broadcast, participated in the game and conducted a lengthy press conference with the president. And these are the people that were actually involved. You know, anyone remember Sam Nunn? I do. David Gergen, James Woolsey. These are the people that participated in the simulated exercise back in 2001. Morgan Hamburg. These are huge names. These are real people that participated in that exercise. Frank Keating, William Sessions. The players were introduced to this crisis during a National Security Council meeting scheduled to address several emerging crises, including the deployment of a carrier task force to the Middle East. At the start of the meeting, the Director of Health and Human Services informed the president of a confirmed case of smallpox in Oklahoma City. Additional smallpox cases were soon identified in Georgia and Pennsylvania. More cases were reported in Oklahoma. The source of the infection was unknown. Was unknown for some time in the beginning, though they knew it came from China. They just didn't know it was man-made or not. It is man-made, by the way. An exposure was presumed to have taken place at least 9 days earlier due to the lengthy incubation period of smallpox. It started really back in November or so, maybe even earlier than that in 2019, and didn't really appear until about January, February, or March of 2020. Consequently, exposed individuals had likely traveled far from the loci of what was now presumed to be a biological attack. The scenario spanned 13 days, so they did a 13-day scenario. But here you have individuals that traveled from where it started from. And remember, even they spoke about it in the vice presidential debates, the presidential debates. Would be, they were saying how they shut off um, being able to fly from China into America or America into China. Well, it's the same thing here, with the traveling situation. And so I think these are the findings, and I could go through the whole thing here, talk about the epidemic, their ability to educate and reassure the public. All this stuff came true in 2020. They were contemplating this back in 2001. In fact, probably the 9/11 wouldn't have happened, but they probably had this cooking as well as the 9/11 cooking, and they decided to go with the 9/11 and eventually do this as well. They always they played it completely out. I will put the link of this underneath the video so you could read it yourself. And then there's one other one. Here is October 25th, 2001, printed for the use of the Committee on Armed Services. And it is a Committee on Armed Services, Carl Levin, Subcommittee on Emerging Threats and Capabilities. And they talk about the dark winter scenario and bioterrorism. This is after the scenario is done. And they speak about it. I'll also put this under the video as well, which goes on for quite a long time. So they contemplated this crap back then, back in 2001, before 9/11. So it doesn't come as a surprise to the ones that are deep in government, like the CIA. The CIA is supposed to be all about gathering intelligence. Bullshit. They're into assassinations. I mean, they do some dirty deeds. What was that? What was that song or album? The album by ACDC, "Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap." Remember that? Well, that's basically what they are, except it's dirty deeds done not so dirt cheap. I mean, it costs a lot of money. Those funds are yanked from drug cartel and weapons selling, and I mean, CIA is nasty. You don't want to ever belong to the CIA because they say once you're in, you're in. I mean, they'll kill your ass if you try to come out of the CIA, especially if you open your mouth about them. They have always have some goddamn operation going on. Always an operation. Always an operation. Can't expose that. In other words, I love Edward Snowden, but if the CIA wanted to, they would have killed him some time ago. They would have taken him out. He wouldn't even know what the hell hit him. Or anyone for that matter. That's how powerful the CIA is. There's some dirty mothers in that fucking agency. They kill you in a second. They kill me. They kill me. But I don't have like if I got onto national TV, like if I got onto ABC or CNN and started talking like this, probably right after the show I'd be dead. Yeah, absolutely. They take me out. Let's shut him down. Holy shit. Can't have the American people know about all this. Holy crap. Which brings me really to the point. So, what is the point of all this? Well, basically, to keep your ass confused. They want you so confused you don't know what black is. You don't know what white is. You don't even know the. After a while, it's like, is 2 and 2 4? Is that really true? Is it when I walk into one tree I walk into another tree. Is that two actual physical objects, or is that an illusion? Yeah. After a while, you will not know what the hell is going on. And that is what this whole thing is about, to confuse you. You don't know what the fuck is going on. You have no clue what's going on. Absolutely no clue. It's all an illusion. Absolutely. Here you have Trump going to the hospital with COVID-19, comes right out of the hospital. Meanwhile, they're talking about, and they're still talking about, even Pence in the vice presidential debate, we're going to have a vaccine. What? Just give the Americans whatever the hell Trump had. And the Americans are like, okay. Well, the Pence said it, man. If Pence said it, then we'll just have to wait for the vaccine. It's a con. Don't you get it? It's a con. It's being exploited for all these other devious fucking manipulative ways and means and things. Has nothing to do with a fucking virus. I mean, there is a virus. There are some assholes out there. There is no virus out there. No, absolutely not. No, bullshit. There's a virus. There's definitely a virus. But it's being exploited for not only political reasons, for not only economical reasons, putting us completely in debt. We'll never get out of this debt. I don't care what they say. We'll save $500 billion this year if we take these two programs out. Bullshit. America has really always been in debt and will always continue to be in debt, no matter who is president. Absolutely. No matter how many economic advisors they have. Bullshit. America, as far as economically is concerned, they own us. I always consider Americans as guests in their house. I'm talking about the wealthy elite families. We are guests in their house. Absolutely. That's what we are. A lot of people think, no, man, I'm American, man. They ain't going to pull that shit with me. No. You're just a guest in their house. And it's not just Jewish families, by the way. It's a lot of non-Jewish families that intermarry left and right, keep it in the blood. Absolutely. Their kids are raised that way. They think that way completely. Like I could marry into one of those families. Maybe 30 years ago, I was a good-looking guy. Well, I was a cool guy, man. I was very confident. Was skinny, no glasses. I was a good-looking guy. I was a good-looking guy. You look at my old pictures. I was a goddamn good-looking guy. I could have definitely married. I could have, because I was such a flirt. I could get one of those shitheads, one of those fucking girls in one of those wealthy elite families to fall for me. Absolutely, I'd have one of those shitheads fall for me. Even maybe a wise woman, because I always liked a little older woman. I could definitely one of those older, I don't know, princesses or duchesses or whatever the hell they are. Definitely would have fell for me. Absolutely, absolutely. But then I'd start speaking my mind and they'd show me the back door very quick. I would not last very long. That would be the problem. Oh no, we can't have this. What is he saying? He's against us? Uh-oh, show him the back door. Wait, hold it here. Yeah, but he's in love with my daughter. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't care how in love they are. I don't care how much love is between the two of them. I want him out of this house. Off the land. Walk him down the 16,000 acres and just drop him there. I'll make a phone call to the CIA to take him out. Yeah, we'll call it a day. Anyway. But absolutely, we're a guest in their house. That's what we are, and we'll always be that way, unfortunately. And the more they strip they strip from the U.S. Constitution or the Bill of Rights, I should say, the more they suppress any of those rights that we may have as Americans, the more we are definitely a guest in their house. Absolutely, absolutely. And we don't even see it. And there's such confusion out there because Americans are thinking they got to be thinking to themselves, let me get this right. They're talking about vaccines. They're going to still get the vaccine, okay. But Trump went into the hospital. They did something to him, and they came back out. It's fine. What's up with that? The Americans got to be thinking to themselves, wait, there's something weird about that. I know there's something weird. Either that's fake, that he actually had coronavirus, and then you wonder why he did it. What is he deflecting from? Probably the first presidential debate, or because he completely fucked up on that one. But anyway, or it's just, you know, we're not, Trump makes it like, I'm American. I'm American. Absolutely American. It's almost like, well, the rest of us are not Americans. In other words, we don't get his medical or his medication. In other words, if all the Americans got the medication that Trump had while he was in the hospital, well, in fact, COVID-19 go away. Boom, boom. I mean, that's simple. Well, according to Trump and everyone else, it's like, well, we're going to wait a little longer. We're gonna figure out this vaccine, and we'll get back to you in next week. In other words, they have the cure already, just not for you. Support me with your money. Support me with your vote. Say positive things about me, but my medicine is not yours. Too funny. So yeah. Anyway, I'll let you guys go, but like Jim Morrison of the Doors would say, I woke up this morning and I had myself a beer. This morning I didn't have a beer. In fact, I haven't had a beer for some time, but I woke up this morning and I had myself a thought. I started thinking, I started saying, wait, hold it here. Isn't that kind of funny about Trump going to the hospital and leaving? And no one says really anything about it. I mean, I would love to see that in the second debate. Someone actually ask him, why wait for a vaccine? All the Americans have to do is take the medicines you took while you're in the hospital, and it'll be everything be cured. I would love to see them pose that question in one way or another like that. Will they? Probably not. They always say, well, this is not scripted. These questions, the questions in the debates, they don't know. Either side don't know. Bullshit. Well, if some CIA operative wanted to get the questions from one of these moderators, believe me, they would. In fact, all they would have to do is put some kind of keystroke thing into their computer, some kind of malware, and they'll get the entire script sent to them through the internet services. you know, so funny. The many thoughts that I have in my head. It's a wonder I just don't get depressed and hang myself. But I have things I do in my life, even though they're minuscule and many people don't quite understand a lot of the things that come out of my face. But nevertheless, it's true. What I tell you is true. It's definitely food for thought, makes you think twice, makes you dig a little deeper. There's more to reality than you think. I mean, there's reality, I mean, this is real. This is real. Hmm? If I took a, if I took a, if I took a pen, I'm not going to do this, of course, but if I took a pen and put it into my eye, that shit's going to hurt and probably blind the shit out of me. That is real. That's real, guys. That's real. That's reality. Every human, you take a pen, boom, boom, and you're probably blind, or at least, unless you like pain and you like to be blind, then you'll be okay with that. Um, but thoughts swimming around in your head, that is like what Robin Williams once said, reality, what a concept. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a concept. These are all concepts that we have. And some people buy into those concepts and other people do not. Now, when I was in first grade, in grade school, I remember the very first thing that the teacher taught us was, this is the very first lesson that I ever learned in first grade, and it was people, places, and things. And when I heard that, I didn't have to hear anything else, because that's really where it's at, right? Places. Yes. Even dark matter in the universe is a place. You might not be able to see it, but it's there. It's a place. It's also a thing. And then people. Yeah, well, people or animals or whatever the hell you want to call it, cockroaches, ants, bugs, whatever. So that's really all it is, right? People, places, and things. And then whatever you could fit into each of the peoples, and what you could fit into the places, and what you could fit into the things or make the things of, and the things are a part of the places. And it was like just putting those blocks together as a kid. And I was what? I don't know how old I was. What I was, 6 years old when I came up with that idea. I was like, what, hold it here. Is that what it's all about? That's some simple shit. That's pretty good. Wow. You were able to how do you say that? Minimalize. I guess that's the word. You could take all this shit out here in the world and sum it all up in 3 words. I mean, that's fucking good shit, you know? And I really like that because I try to sum things up in very few words as possible. Of course, my videos are long as hell, but anyway, that's beside the point because I use examples and all this other shit. But yeah, you have people, places, and things. That's all there is, really. You know? And people come up with all kinds of kooky ideas. And unfortunately, the government, especially deep government like CIA and all those shitheads, they're able to brainwash you into not knowing what is real as opposed to what is. In other words, you don't even know what it is to be an American. You have no clue, no clue, no clue at all. In other words, a perfect example, and I'll leave you on this. If I went onto like cable TV, or I went onto national TV, went on to ABC or NBC, I went on to, I don't know, Fox News or CNN, and I started talking like this, it probably, for one thing, wouldn't last very long because they'd cut off the feed if it's live, and they would cut the feed off. And then after that, they'd kill me. That CIA or one of those assholes would take my ass out. Because to be an American is to speak your mind. As long as you're not inciting violence or causing any kind of violence or physical harm, you ought to be able to speak your mind. Unfortunately, the way we are now, you cannot. You have to be very careful about the words that you choose. Now, YouTube allows it to a degree, but they're all about advertising money. Yeah, absolutely. The more advertising money you have, the more shit you get away with. Just like I'm going to upload eventually this, should this content be age restricted? That's a perfect example. that particular channel, that YouTube channel, has close to 200,000 subscribers and makes a lot of money for YouTube. So he's allowed to do those particular content videos. If I did it, those channels would, I mean, those videos would definitely get strikes on them or be removed at least. Or even the channel entirely, well, shut down. And that tells you how YouTube, Google, Alphabet is. They have their own agenda and their own bullshit crap that they feed themselves in one day out the other day, every day. It's the same con, same and making you believe that's an open platform bullshit. But hey, it is what it is. They still get I've been paying them $11.99 a month, for premium YouTube. You know, I'm sure if 100 million YouTubers stopped paying the $11.99 a month, and it was because of me telling all those, I don't know, 10 million YouTubers not to pay the $11.99, and then they'll listen to me much more. But if I just decide to stop paying the $11.99 a month, they give a shit. I'm just one guy. They give a fuck. Reality. Like Robin Williams said, man, reality. What a concept. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go, but don't take everything the government tells you at face value. None of these governmental leaders, from the local to the state to the federal government, don't let them tell you shit. Don't believe anything they say. And if you do, think twice. Think twice. Do some research on it. Dig deeper. And mainly think. I mean, this is a thinking channel. It's for intellectuals. So the thinking channel. I want you to think. I want you to contemplate. I want you to reflect. I want you to say, wait, hold it here. I don't know about all that shit. I don't know. It doesn't add up. Not in my book. Well, that's what you need to do. You got to think. You must think your way out of the maze. Absolutely. They will continue to feed Americans all this garbage, and it'll go on for some time. It's not going to go away. This COVID-19 is not going to go away after the elections, guaranteed. It'll go well into 2021 and even past that. They got a whole game plan going on. They needed a new 9/11, and they found it, and they implemented it, and now they're going to, according to them, resolve it, which they're not, but they're definitely benefiting from it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Walking away with more power or more control than ever before. And definitely lots and lots and lots and lots of money. We like money. Oh, yes, we love money. But most of all, they love power. They love control. They're control freaks, guys. These guys love control. Holy shit. They lost their control. If they had to give their control up, they'd scamper back into their holes in the ground and disappear forever. Absolutely. They love control. Absolutely. They get off on that. That's a psychological thing. Just like Hitler, Mussolini, all those guys, they love power, control, manipulating others. They love that. Well, this is what our government does, especially CIA and the wealthy elite families. They are very much into control. They control everything from the news media to government to economics to family relationships. You name it on down the line. Whatever comes to your mind, they're in control of that. Absolutely. Like I stated, we are a guest. Regardless if you disagree with it or not, we are a guest in their house. Even the CIA And all those shitheads on every single level in the CIA, they are all guests in their houses. Absolutely, in their homes. Absolutely, we're all guests. They created this shit over 120 years ago, and it continues on to this day. And they will just create mass and more mass of control and power, and that will just continue on. Absolutely. And Elon Musk and the rest of these shitheads gonna have all their little toys going to Mars and all this shit. Yeah. We're going to Mars. Yeah, right. Go fuck yourself. This guy, just it's a play toy. You know, it's like Steven Spielberg and his movies. Right? He does it on film. Elon Musk and the rest of these shitheads, they do it with their little toys going up in the air. Yeah. You're gonna have the same fucking problems on Mars, on the moon, no matter where the hell you go. You always will have money problems. You're always going to have someone in control or someone with power. It's always gonna it's going to continue on. Yes. Besides, who the hell wants to live up there and under those types of conditions? It's bad enough you gotta live under certain conditions on Earth, you know? I mean, it's not like I could just flap my wings and fly away. I would love to be a bird sometime in my life, but I can't do that. There's always conditions. If I don't have oxygen, I die. You know, on the moon, on the Mars, it's got to be even 10 times more complicated. All this other shit you have to do in order to survive on Mars or the moon or wherever. You got to do all this other shit. And all I want to do, is just relax, think a little bit, do whatever my little things I like to do. No, I don't want to, have to hook up a mask or some kind of fucking uniform I got to wear and fucking tubes coming out and all this bullshit. And you got to make sure the levels of the oxygen is correct and all this other crap. Holy shit. I'm gonna take a walk outside today. No, you can't. Come back here, Tommy. No, Tommy, you can't do that. Come back to mommy. Come on, come on. No, but I want to go play out there. No, you cannot. You got your spacesuit on? No, you did not. Well, I didn't buy it for Christmas for you, so that's too bad. You got to stay here with mommy. You can't go out there. Sorry about that. Anyway, enough of my rant and rave and bullshit. And well, it's not bullshit, but definitely Hegelian dialectic. They definitely created this. They definitely are in the process of resolving it, and they will definitely benefit from it. And it's definitely about money, and it's definitely about power and control, and it's definitely about illusions, not knowing what to believe. Americans are more confused than ever. They don't have any clue what it is, what even reality is anymore. Trump goes in, Trump comes out, but we're still waiting for a vaccine, you know. And most of all, we are, and we will continue to be a guest in their house. And on that point, you guys have a good one. Bye bye.